What's the latest?
What was your reaction to getting Devin Williams?
Exciting, got the call from David, and I was excited. You're talking about one of the best relievers for the past few years, a guy that's used to pitching on high leverage and closing experience, and we're looking for help down there, and the fact that we got one here, I was excited.
You had any interaction with Pete in the offseason and just kind of, how do you feel? How much do you want Pete back, and how big a piece is he?
I texted a couple of times with him, but obviously giving him his space, kind of like the same process that we went through last year. As far as how much do I want him, of course I want him. You're talking about a guy that, as a manager, his ability to post, every day, when you don't have to worry about who's playing first base and who's going to be hitting in the middle of your lineup, you can beat that. So again, he earned it. He's going through the process right now, and I think David's been very vocal how much we want him, but we'll see how it goes here.
Is it all difficult from your chair, Andy? Obviously, he's a free agent. He has the right to go out and talk to everyone he wants to, but is it difficult to kind of sit back and know that it is a process, and he's going to go talk to other teams, he's going to go do that?
Yeah, I guess the more you do it, you're kind of used to it now. Like last year, I was kind of like waiting for that text from David or a call. Now you just got to let it play out. There's a lot of back and forth from so many people that as a manager, you just kind of sit back and wait. So.
Did you expect the kind of you guys traded Nimmo, cornerstone for the franchise, fan favorite? Were you surprised by that, or did you expect that kind of move to be done?
Not really. It wasn't an easy decision. And when David gave me a call, I kind of paused for a little bit, to be honest with you, because of how much Brandon represented and what he meant to the team, right? But at the same time, when you're talking about a guy coming back like Marcus Semien with, a lot of the same traits, right? Like qualities, makeup, proven winner, you're like, okay, all right, and also give us the ability to improve our defense on the right side of the infield. But yeah, it was a tough one, wishing Brandon nothing but the best because, as a manager, he represented, everything. So, but again, excited to have a player that caliber like Marcus. So.
Semien now occupying second base. How do you view third base? Obviously, second base you could use that to kind of get some of the other guys playing time, but now you don't have that much of a luxury.
Yeah, look, I think Brett Baty took that step forward last year. He felt like we had a tryout there between Mark Vientos, Brett Baty, Ronnie Mauricio at times, and Brett Baty kind of just got comfortable and played really well, from both sides of the field, defensively, offensively, and going into camp. I think as we sit here right now, you could say that Brett will get the majority of the playing time. That doesn't mean that Mark Vientos won't get any reps there, and he's preparing for everything, like we know how much he means to the team. And like I said, we'll see what happens, but Brett Baty, as of right now, will get a lot of the opportunities.
When you have a situation like that, and there are players who maybe don't see it everyday spot, how do you communicate to them that they're still important?
Yeah, there's constant communication with them, not only during the season, but during the off-season. I met with Vientos not too long ago, face-to-face, just to kind of check with them. But again, a lot can happen between now and March, whenever opening day is, right? But once you get to the regular season, you have to communicate with those guys day in and day out. At times they're not going to like it because they want to be in the lineup, they want to play, but also just be transparent and honest with them. So, and that's how I will continue to approach that situation.
Vientos said that he's taking equal defensive reps this winter at third and at first. Do you anticipate him playing more first base, especially if Alonso doesn't resign?
Yeah, we'll see what happens here, but we're preparing him for every scenario. Like we're not throwing third base out of the window. He's working a lot at first base, But again, a lot can happen. So the one thing I told him is just control the things you can control, and that's putting yourself in the best position and show up to camp and ready to compete.
How do you create chemistry, cohesion in the clubhouse when you have such a big roster overhaul? It also is a huge change to your coaching staff as well.
Yeah, we're talking about the coaching staff. Yeah, we lost so many coaches and good people, and not easy decisions, especially from the chair where I'm sitting as a manager. You develop so many relationships with these guys; they become part of your family. But at the same time, I'm excited about the coaching staff and some of the guys that we were able to bring on board. You're talking about continuity in the team chemistry. We brought up 4 guys from player development. Guys that are so used to our players, our processes, our system, their relationship with players. So I was very proud of the fact that, you're not only promoting players, but you're also giving a chance to some of the coaches that are grinding in the minor leagues. And, that provides a lot of that continuity in that team chemistry that you're talking about.
What was your reaction to Adam Ottavino's criticism of your bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get on the back and forth there. The one thing I'll tell you is, as an organization, our job is to put together a roster that is going to help us reach the ultimate goal, which is win a World Series. And in order for us to do that, we need our players healthy, playing in the field, performing at the highest level, whether they're position players, whether pitchers, starters, relievers. And when you look at the numbers, the facts are right there. We were probably one of the teams that protected the bullpen guys better than anybody. And you're talking about we were able to do that with so little length that we were getting from the starters. I don't think this is a Mets issue. I think this is an industry that this year we were dealing with a lot of injuries. But like I said, I'm comfortable with the process too. When you're talking about guys who's available, there's so many people, so many conversations that happen throughout the day. As soon as you get to the ballpark, you're talking to the pitching coaches, you're talking to the trainers, you're talking to the players. And then once the game starts, you have a pretty good idea who's available and who's not. And that's when I make the decisions there. So, but I feel pretty comfortable in saying that we are one of the better teams that protect the relievers. So.
Carlos, a year ago you guys had just signed Juan Soto at this time. You're coming off a deep October run. This year is a lot different. You've already made a pretty big clubhouse trade with Nimmo. The coaching staff is new. Does it feel very unsettled right now as you guys are trying to get ready? I know it's early in the off season, but just how much of a different feel is it this year, this off season, compared to last?
Yeah, I mean,
it
look,
seems like the momentum has kind of been stopped a little bit.
Yeah, and when you don't play well, that happens, right? A team that had so much expectations, and we didn't even make it to the playoff. Free agents, coaches, but here we are. We have a really good opportunity, and you just have to embrace the challenge. So, and I'm excited about that, and really looking forward to get going.
Along those same lines, how do you assess kind of your job as a manager last season? Obviously, coming up short. Is there anything maybe you could have done?
Not good enough. When you're talking about a team that went into the season with so much expectations and we fell short, that falls on me as a manager, and I got to be better. So when you're talking about assessing the job, I fell short, and here we are working towards the goal of not only playing in October, but deep into October. So.
What specifically do you think you could be better
at? At everything, relationship, communication, processes, 2024 was really, really good, and then you fell short, and you kind of got to take a minute and sit back here and, look yourself in the mirror and how can you get better. And I think it starts with that. I'm always being a guy that takes pride on communicating and creating an environment where people are really looking forward to come to work. And when you're not winning games and when it gets hard, you got to take a step back and reflect and make those decisions where can I get better? So, and here we are.
There are reports of tension in the clubhouse, especially during the latter half of the season. I mean, how much were you aware of that, and do you believe that was an issue for you guys?
I mean, it's amazing that, and I'm not going to get into what happens in the clubhouse, obviously stays there, but nowadays for the past 2 weeks, it feels like we were fighting with each other pretty much every day, and that's that's wrong, because nobody talk about our clubhouse, when we got to the second week of June with the best record on baseball. We had the best clubhouse, and then we started losing, and now everybody's talking about, some of the issues. Like, we had a professional clubhouse, guys respected each other, guys enjoyed being around each other. We just didn't play well on the field, and that translated into whatever people call vibe, team chemistry. But at the end of the day, guys showed up and they respected each other. So,
where do you see Ronnie Mauricio fitting in, and how are you guys going to be able to get him enough reps given all the infielders?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, it's the same case that I'm talking about, like Mark Vientos, controlling the thing that he can control. It's good to see him playing winning ball and playing well. Just saw him last week and had breakfast with him. He's in a very good place. He's got to come in and compete for a spot on our roster. There's flexibility there. I think the biggest thing is for him to be healthy. If we get a healthy version of Ronnie Mauricio, he's an impactful player.
Is there anywhere beyond second, short, and third that you're looking at him defensively, or those three positions for him?
Yeah, if he's healthy, you're looking at a pretty versatile player. They can play second, short, and third base. So
you talked some about the coaching turnover. When they find which ones are gone, do you expect your base running to do the same?
Yeah, I mean, look, Anton was a really good coach. I consider him as a friend. Now, well, he's my enemy now. He's with the Braves, right? But I'm excited about Gilbert Gomez. This is a guy that is very respectful in the game, a lot of knowledge, good people skills, and he earned it. He earned the opportunity to be in the big leagues. And as far as like the base running goes, I feel good with the group of people that are going to be able to impact our players and continue to help them improve in their game.
David has talked about how you guys are prioritizing, run prevention kind of as a theme throughout this winter. Was that something that went into consideration when building the staff, just in terms of the other pieces, maybe on the defensive side?
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty aggressive, and we went after Kai Correa. This is a guy that is known around the industry as one of the best defensive coach there is in the league, and he comes with a lot of experience coaching-wise in those areas, especially on the defensive side, infield defense. Also experienced as the bench coach. So when we got done, and I remember having those conversations with David, we knew that we needed to identify some of those names, and Kai kind of, stuck out, and we were pretty aggressive there.
When it comes to run prevention, how does that affect how you, change spring training or how you approach spring training this year?
Well, it starts with the personnel, right? We're talking about pitching and defense, and we added a pretty good second baseman there now on Marcus. So, but as far as like spring training goes, yeah, we might do things a little different, but we always stress fundamentals. We always stress attention to details like that. We're not going to shy away from that. It's not like we're going to be doing extra work, but I think it starts with the personnel, and we're doing that right now.
Is giving Juan Soto bats at DH?
He doesn't like DHing, so he takes pride of being a good defender. And he will continue to do so, So I'm pretty sure schedule will dictate. Sometimes they're dealing with physical stuff that you're trying to keep his bat in the lineup. The DH might come to play, but if he's feeling good enough, he's going to be out there in right field.
What were the reports you got on Carson Benge last year?
Yeah, I watch a lot of films, talk to a lot of our people in player development. Exciting player, a guy that impacted baseball. Controls the strike zone, pretty good defender, the makeup. There's a lot to like about this kid. I keep hearing his name since we drafted him. And here he is, putting himself in a position where he's going to show up in spring training ready to compete for a spot on our roster.
Carlos, I was saying for year two of Soto, you think you can do better? You think you can do better a full year of how to work about changing stuff in the offseason and things like that?
I don't think I hear you. If I feel he could get better?
Yeah, like do you think he can improve on year two after a really good season in year one, like having a full offseason instead of like choosing the offseason?
Yeah, look, this is a guy that is determined to be, one of the greatest players that ever played the game, And like I said earlier, he wants to be coached, he wants to be challenged. And I just saw him last week, and it's pretty impressive, his routine and the way he prepares every day. He's not satisfied with, personal numbers. He wants to win. He wants to win a World Series. That's his goal, and he's working towards that. So I'm excited about year 2 from Juan Soto here with the Mets, and I can't wait.
The trio of young arms that came up at the end of the year with Sproat and Tom McClain, do you anticipate them being up for the entirety of 2026? Like, are the training wheels off there? Are they fully big starters right now in your mind?
If they're fully starters right now?
Fully, like at the big league level, do you anticipate them contributing to the full?
Oh yeah, I mean they're going to play a big role on our season, right? You're talking about having depth and things like that. But again, who knows what's going to happen from here to whenever we report spring training and once we get to New York. But those guys, they're exciting. They show flashes. Obviously, McClain was really, really good for us. Pro was outstanding, and Jonah has some ups and downs, But they're all three of them are pretty impressive, and we're counting on all of them. ¿Qué quieres que te diga en español?
Bueno, Carlos, luego de una temporada muy mala para los Mets y yendo a tu último año de contrato, ¿qué tanta presión y expectativas tú tienes del 2026?
Sí, mira, cuando tú hablas de la temporada pasada, pues no fue una temporada decepcionante para nosotros, un equipo con muchas expectativas y no pudimos jugar en octubre. Eso dice mucho del fracaso como que tuvimos como equipo. A lo que se refiere con mi contrato y todas esas cosas, mira, cuando tú estás en esta silla de manager de Grandes Ligas, siempre esa silla está caliente y uno no puede estar pensando en eso. Mi trabajo es ser la mejor versión de Carlos Mendoza, cómo yo puedo impactar a los peloteros, cómo yo puedo impactar a la organización y al final del día, pues los resultados, que es ganar juegos de pelota. Y eso es lo que estamos trabajando en esta temporada muerta. Pues hemos hecho unos cambios mayores en el equipo de piezas que han sido importantes y también muy contento con lo que hemos obtenido. Falta mucho todavía por recorrer, pero de verdad bastante emocionado por lo que hemos conseguido hasta el momento.
¿Qué tú piensas de todos esos rumores de chismes que había en el Clubhouse?
Lo que tú acabas de decir, chisme. Es impresionante que nadie hablaba del Clubhouse de nosotros y en las últimas 2 semanas pues lo que se escucha es bulla de que prácticamente lo que la gente está haciéndolo saber es como que estamos peleándonos todos los días, cuando es completamente lo contrario a la realidad. Era un Clubhouse profesional, donde los muchachos se respetaban, donde los muchachos venían a trabajar y a competir el día a día. ¿Cuál fue la diferencia? Que no ganamos juegos de pelota. Nadie hablaba del Clubhouse de nosotros por los 2 primeros meses y medio de temporada cuando teníamos el mejor récord. Nadie hablaba del Clubhouse. Pasaron 2 meses y medio malísimos de pelota, entonces ahora todo el mundo está hablando de los problemas, cuando es completamente mentira. Pero es parte del mercado, es parte de lo que nosotros vivimos en Nueva York, donde cualquier cosita pues se convierte en algo súper, la noticia es una cosa increíble, pero yo de verdad bastante orgulloso de los muchachos que tenemos en el Clubhouse, de cómo nosotros representamos la organización y vamos a seguir añadiendo pues personalidades que nos ayudan a conseguir pues la meta, que es ganar una serie mundial.
Incluyendo un pitcher como Framber Valdez.
Mira, eso es, yo creo que el gerente de nosotros, David Stearns, ha dicho pues que nosotros estamos hablando con todos los peloteros que están disponibles. Pues, obviamente sabemos la calidad de lanzador que es él y mira, yo como manager voy a ser aquí un poquito egoísta, yo quiero que me traigan todo lo que sea, ¿no? Pero vamos a esperar a ver qué pasa.
What do you think went into the decision to let go of Jeremy Hefner? I mean, he's been so well regarded here and done a good job with pitching.
Yeah, not an easy one, and I enjoy working with him. I consider him a friend, obviously, and he's well respected within the industry. But when you had the type of season that we had, whether it was injury, performance, tough decisions are going to be made, and we had to make some tough decisions. And that was, obviously, I'm not going to get into the details, but it wasn't an easy one. Obviously, I knew it wasn't going to take long, and he's now in our division. But I enjoyed working with him.